Well, it was interesting. I was listening to both of them speaking, and Raymond reminding us of the ugly face of the system that we live in, and Alvin talking about the Christian Aid Office, and I remember how difficult it is for the Christian Aid Office in Brazil to fulfill and to abide to regulation. It is actually quite a lot of work for us to pay the taxes there properly, which is unbelievable. But, well, I'm not an expert like they are, but I've been bitten by the tax bug. And I cannot think about development and poverty eradication without dealing with the tax issue. It is impossible. In Brazil, as you all know, is a very wealthy country. If you think about the amount of natural resources that we have, we're 200 million people, a large territory, rivers, minerals. But this is a reality and is accessible to the top of the pyramid. There is another country for the bottom of the pyramid, and that is a country of lacking of everything, and is a country that has social indicators and economic indicators that are matching to some of the African countries that Christian Aid work on, some of the worst of them. So we see that inequality is really what keeps those people at the bottom of the pyramid and maintains a structure that does not allow this to change. And the key component of this structure that's not changing, that's not being broken, is the tax system. We have a very unjust tax system in Brazil. The middle class and lower class, they pay 40% of their income in taxes. The richer, they pay around 20% of their income. Our taxation is based on consumption, so it's in goods and purchases and services. It's not on production. So the burden, again, ends up being on the poor. We hear about the country growing so much, and we hear about the amazing things that my government did in the last 10 years about getting people out of poverty. It is true, it happened. We have to acknowledge that the situation improved. But at the same time, we're seeing that from 2003 to May 2011, when you had 46% of the people moving up to middle class. And middle class, of course, does not mean the middle class that you have here. It's at least being able to eat every day, having clothes, buying school materials for your kids. And while you had that increase of 46%, rich increased over 50%, it's 54.7. So if you look at it, the structure is the same. It hasn't changed. We have 53% of the houses without proper sanitation in my country, which is considered a rich country now. 60% of the rural population live in poverty. We have, in that huge territory that is Brazil, a piece of land that is 32 times the size of Ireland that is not producing anything, that's being held just for real estate speculation. So Christian Aid is there to tackle those very difficult issues, and we know this is a difficult challenge to work with. Our partners there are challenging the tax structure, wanting reform, pushing for more pro-poor legislation, for the government to have a system and a structure that's going to benefit those that need. And one piece of that is that Christian Aid is taking on in Brazil the End Tax Haven campaign that you've seen here as well. This is a topic that Raymond mentioned to us. In Brazil, each year, 9% of the GDP is lost in tax evasion. 9%. Education budget in my country is 5% of the GDP. So you imagine, 9% of that, how much schools that could be built, the salaries of teachers could be better. We're robbing people of the opportunity to improve their lives with this. There is strong evidence that 26% of the multinational companies operating in my country are practicing tax evasion. So you imagine the amount of money that's going out. And since I'm a kid, Brazil has been through a dictatorship, 21 years of dictatorship. It ended in the 80s, but in the 70s we had an economy minister that he used to say there was another period of miracle like the one that we're experiencing right now, enormous growth, people talking about the Brazilian miracle. And he used to say that we need to wait for the cake to grow before sharing it and dividing it. And it's enough. I'm tired. I'm 35 years old. I've been hearing that my entire life. It's time. We need to share that cake, and it's now. Thank you.